Welcome to Web Traffic Broker's video series. Today I'd like to discuss a little bit about the control panel and its flow, and most importantly, what happens after an auction listing is won. What happens if a seller closes an auction early? Also, we're going to cover how does a buyer pay? Escrowed funds. When does a seller release traffic? When does a buyer release funds? And finally, how does a seller withdraw funds? We went ahead and created a little listing here. As you can see, visitor quantity is 100,000. I'd like you to remember that because we're going to come back to it. Also, you can meet the seller in any of the listings. If you simply click the seller's ID, you can see positive or negative feedback of that seller. Okay, let's move forward. If you click on View History, you'll be able to see that there are bidders who have bid on this auction. Again, remember I told you about the 100,000 visitors? Well, if you add these up, there's 170. So what does that mean? That means not all the bidders are going to receive the quantity that they bid on, and in some cases, not all the bidders are going to win. So let's go back to the top. Let's click on Control Panel, and let's close this auction. By the way, if you're a seller, you can close this auction at any time. Click on Active Auctions, and you'll see a button here. Check on that box. It says Close Now. Simply click Process Auctions, and this listing will be processed. Any buyers that have bid on this auction will receive emails with pay buttons and a notification that they've won the auction, and then they start the process of paying. We accept two methods of payment, and one is bank wire transfer, and the other one's PayPal. Also, if you like, if you clicked on this link right here, this is the highest bidder. You can also see the highest bidder's feedback. So if you, the seller, have closed the auction early, and this buyer has negative feedback, you might want to leave this listing open for other bidders. Again, click Close Now, Process Auctions, and we'll see you in Part 2. Okay, welcome back to Part 2 of the control panel flow. Before we get into it, I'd like to show you the winners of this auction. We closed it out, and as you can see, here's the original 3 bidders. Only 2 out of the 3 bidders won. The one who didn't win was PTF, and if you take notice that, PTF and 1-1 both had the same bid amounts, and only 1-1 and BB won. Well, what happened here is that 1-1 actually placed his bid before PTF, therefore he won the auction. So since there was only 100,000 visitor quantities available to begin with, these 2 won, and 1 bidder got left out. All right, let's move forward. Okay, back to the original listing auction. Here are the 2 winning bidders. Here's the name of the auction, and we're still in the seller's account called Administrator. What I'd like to do is show you from the seller's point of view what his control panel looks like, and we'll move to the buyer so you can see that view too. Control panel, selling, winners details. So here's the listing. Here's the 2 winners, and as you can see, here's the status of payment. As mentioned earlier, they both received pay buttons via email, and we're waiting for them to pay. Now, the most important thing about this page is where it says OK to release traffic. If you don't remember anything, remember this. As long as it says no, do not send traffic. When everything's processed on the buyer side, this will turn into yes. At that time, it's okay to send traffic, because what it means is basically we've received their funds into our escrow, and it's been processed, and it's been approved. So now we know your money's protected. And that's the purpose of an escrow account, is protect you, the seller, to make sure that you get paid if you send the traffic. So again, do not send any traffic until this status turns into yes. Okay, that pretty much concludes the seller side and what to look for in the seller's control panel. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to go to one of the buyer's accounts. We're going to log into this buyer here, DOMDEPTBB, and we're going to make payment. This is still the seller's account, of course, and it's still showing waiting for buyer to pay. So we're going to make payment, and then we're going to come back here on the seller's side, and you can see what the status is going to show after payment's been made. Okay, I've logged into this user's account. To get to the payment page, you're simply just going to go to Buying, Auctions You've Won. All the auctions that the buyer wins will be located on this page. Here's the auction that he won, control panel flow, the seller's administrator, the seller's email address, posted after payment, your bid, quantity, buyer's fee, escrow fee, total due. So we're going to go ahead and pay this. We offer 2 methods of payment. One is PayPal and the other one's bank wire transfer. If you choose bank wire transfer, it'll give you our details. You simply go to your bank, transfer the money into our account, and once we verify it, we'll upload it to escrow. Once it's uploaded into escrow, you can release it at any time, preferably after seller has fully delivered traffic to you. But today we're going to select PayPal. We're going to go through the PayPal process as far as payment is concerned. Now there's a couple things you need to know about PayPal. We don't process the payment right away because PayPal has a little time delay with regard to processing payment. They go through their own verification process, and that can be anywhere from a few minutes to up to 24 hours. So our system may say waiting for PayPal to process before you can release funds. So keep that in mind. The second thing, of course, is that we also require first-time buyers or bidders to sign a PayPal authorization form. This PayPal authorization form allows us to charge charge deposits through the PayPal account. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this payment, and then we're going to come back to the buyer's control panel, and I'll walk you through that process, and you can see what the status says after that. Okay, here we are back at the buyer's control panel. The payment's been made, and the pay button turned into release funds button. If you were to click on release funds button at this moment, you still couldn't pay, or you still couldn't release the funds to the seller for a couple of reasons. One, and probably the most important reason, is that, has seller delivered the traffic to you? Were you able to monitor that traffic? Have you actually approved that traffic? The key point to remember here is never to relieve funds until the seller has delivered traffic based on the terms and conditions of the listing. This is very important because we want to protect your funds. Once you do release the funds, they cannot be returned. So please make sure that all deliverables were delivered to you in a timely manner, as well as seller complying to all terms and conditions of the listing. Under the paid heading, it says pending for PayPal review. So again, once PayPal reviews your payment, this will change to escrowed. Once funds have been escrowed, then and only then are you able to release these funds. And that's pretty much it for the buyer side. Next, we're going to release funds, and we're going to head over to the administrator side to see the control panel and the flow. Okay, we've just finished making payment on the buyer's side. We went ahead and logged into the administrator, that's the seller. And to get back to the seller's control panel page, go to Selling, Winner Details. Here's the buyer that just made payment. The status of the payment is still pending review, and that's because PayPal is still processing the payment. Okay to release traffic still says no, so remember, do not release traffic until this turns into yes. Okay, it looks like PayPal has approved this payment, so I'm just going to reload this page so that we can upload the status to this control panel. There you go. Escrow, waiting for buyer to release funds. Payment is cleared. It's sitting in our escrow account. It's been confirmed and approved. Okay to release traffic says yes. So at this point, you being the seller, you would release traffic to the buyer. Once the traffic has been sent, the buyer will simply click on his release funds button, and those funds from escrow will be transferred into your account. Also at that time, where it says your account balance not available, this will be updated with the amount of money that was transferred into your account. So let's quickly go back into the buyer's account and release funds, and we'll come back here to see what happens as far as the control panel status is concerned. Okay, we're back into the buyer's account. As you can see, the username right here. Paid status changed from pending review to now it's escrowed. We're going to go ahead and release funds. They give you a last opportunity to cancel this process if you like, and it's important to note again that if you release funds, this cannot be undone. There you go. Funds are released. I'll see you back at the administrative panel in a moment. Okay, we're back into the seller's control panel. Here's the buyer, and the paid status is funds released. That means the funds have been deposited into your account. However, this seller made a withdrawal prior to these funds being deposited into his account. It says here, one of your withdrawal requests is already pending. Once it clears, then you'll be able to withdraw the rest of your money. So once the last withdrawal has been paid to you, then you'll be able to withdraw this amount. Okay, so let's walk through the withdrawal process on the seller side. We're still an administrator. You might remember a little message here saying that there was a payment pending. Well, that payment has been paid to the administrator, who is the seller. And now the administrator, the seller, is able to withdraw these funds here. All they simply do is click the withdrawal button. And that's it. Payment has been sent to the administrator, and the administrator will process your funds. So that completes the entire flow of the control panel. Just a couple things I'd like to bring to your attention. First, if we didn't answer all of your questions, simply go into FAQ. You might want to pay attention to when will I get paid. Also, please check into membership in my account. Go to control panel. Mostly everything that we discussed should be included here. If you have any questions you want to find instantly, we also have an instant response. We'll instantly tell you or answer any question that you may have. Thank you again, and we hope to see you in the next video.